Malky, it's good to catch up with you right now. Obviously, we're here in the Netherlands and there's a lot of focus on pre-season and training and preparing the team for next season. One thing I wanted to touch upon with you was the backroom team that David Gray's brought in. We spoke to him about that as well. One thing that's really interested me is the makeup of a backroom team. Obviously, we've seen a few here at Hibs over the last 3 years. What does a good backroom team look like in terms of the personal skills that have to surround a manager or a head coach?
It's a really important blend that the manager has to have around him. There has to be trust from his guys. There has to be that element that they tell him what they feel, what they actually feel. They have the ability to tell him what he doesn't want to hear, but at the same time, once he decides and makes his mind up on something, then they follow. So there's that point has to really be there, that the guys that are with him trusts, and he actually ends up, there's reasons why they say what they're going to say. They back it up with something, and they make sometimes a statement that actually is not what he is expecting to hear. And at the same time, there's got to be the balance that they generally think similarly in a direction of travel. So it's a balance, and it's not an easy balance to strike sometimes. You've got to make sure that the guy that you've got around you, the guys, have got certainly that sense of security that they can tell them what they want, they think that is actually the case, without fear that it's going to spoil a relationship. I think there needs to be a sense of someone that can actually connect with the players, connect with the staff. There needs to be a sense and an element of someone who's got a tactical mind to them as well, to help David in the terms of the coaching element to that. There needs to be sometimes a calm head and someone that is someone able to whisper in his ear. There needs to be someone that kind of keeps an eye on everything. So I think all of these factors come into it, and having spoken to David around when he was bringing in the staff that he did, Liam, Eddie and Craig, we did have that conversation as to the balance that he would need. He's a new head coach. He needs people around him that he's comfortable with. I think it was important that we didn't put someone with him that we decided on. I think it's important that the coach has to be comfortable with the people he's around. I certainly wanted David to be able to actually be very comfortable with the people that had around him, instead of actually forcing them into something that we thought that might have been good. And at the same time, these guys have actually got to have an impact. They can't just be your friends. If they are, quite quickly situations fail for that manager, and it'll never be right. There's been times in the past where you've seen managers come in and bring in their friend, and it really doesn't work. There has to be a reason for the person coming in, and I think that's something that, again, David spoke about very, very clearly in his interview. And then since then, when we decided to go and speak to the clubs to talk about releasing the guys that we did, that there was a good reasoning behind it, that I was then able to go and explain to the board as to why we did that.
Yeah, you've obviously just spoke there around the importance of the coaching staff around a new head coach as well. First, obviously, team that David Gray's put together. You've obviously been around the training ground, around the training camp here in the Netherlands, the friendly games. You've seen them in action for the first kind of couple of weeks. How do you think this one is gelling so far?
Probably as I expected, which was really well. I had done a fair bit of homework on the characters of the three individuals that became part of his staff. So again, all of them will be assistant coaches, and that's important. There isn't a pecking order there. Craig Sampson is an assistant coach. He's not just a goalkeeping coach. There's so many more strings to his bow than that. And the work that we did in terms of him, Liam and Eddie, I'm pleasantly surprised in terms of just how quickly it's actually all gelled together quite well. I'm also really delighted at the way that the ambience at the training ground has gone since they came in. That's an important thing in terms of the staff at the training ground feeling as if they can talk to the senior staff and be able to chat to them and have dialogue with them and work with them without fear of being snapped at. And that's maybe something that over a period of time I've kind of, I suppose, I've looked at, and I've seen that maybe in the past, now and again, there's a member of staff who, in a senior position, who overstepped the mark slightly with staff at our training ground. And that doesn't make for a good atmosphere. And I think what I spoke to all our staff at the training ground was about being positive, being proactive, and enjoying your work, having a work ethic clearly, and being low maintenance, because there's enough high maintenance footballers, but at the same time actually being able to relax and enjoy your work without fear of now and again being snapped at. And I think that's something that I'm really happy with in terms of this, the blend of what the three guys that David's brought in. They've immediately come in, and there's a good atmosphere around the training ground. That's then transported over to the Netherlands here. We're at the team hotel. We've been out here for 4 days now, and the staff are working well. Certainly we've got our medical department and our kit department in here as well. We've got you guys in the media department here, and we're all in together, we're eating together, we're all travelling together. Everyone's picking bags up, everyone's helping each other, and it's exactly what I want. I want staff to join in. I want staff to be able to talk to players and players to talk to staff. That this is one big group of people here, and we're going to push forward ahead together, and that's the best way of us succeeding, is when there isn't fractures among staff and players at football clubs. So I'm really happy with the three guys in terms of the way that they've settled into the group, and the differences in the three of them and their personalities.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously having three assistants. That's something that's obviously quite unusual, I think, in terms of football and coaching setups. Dave was quite clear around the fact that they were his three assistants, and despite potentially having different roles, like we spoke about Craig Sampson.
Yeah.
But that dynamic of having three is really important, I suppose, with the characteristics that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think so, and I think we start with saying that there's no egos among the three. So that's a really good start. Eddie May is someone who's got a long history with the football club, has worked at the football club as a staff member for a period of time, so he has settled into the role very well in terms of all of the staff being around and the players being around.
Provides that good link, doesn't he, between the staff?
Very much so. So there's an ease of relationship there already. What he's now doing is he is the person that has been with David 4 times now, I believe, in terms of the interim role, on his shoulder. So there's a sense of security there and an understanding between the two of them, and Eddie deciding, I am going to go and stand shoulder to shoulder with David now as one of his assistants. So I really liked that. I liked the fact that he decided, I'm going to go and stand in the trench alongside him, and I believe in him. And good that David then has got that ear to talk to just now and again. He's been around a long time, and the fact he's seen a lot. He's watched a lot of the Premier League, watched a lot of games last year. So I think the sense of having that calmness in Eddie is a really interesting and important factor.
Yeah.
I think Liam coming in, Liam captained the football club, so we've got someone who understands the fabric of the club, real good professional football career, and has started his coaching career now at a couple of clubs. And again, the work that I did in terms of feedback on him, that is not only a popular member of the clubs he's been in as a coach, but also a real deep thinker in terms of the game. He's known David a long time, but not so much really as close friends, more been on courses with them, and two of them sitting, discussing and talking into late at night about football. And I really liked that when I heard that. It's not his mate, it's someone that has got a similar sense of how the game should be played, and their values and their standards in the game. He's got a good reputation, and he's another one that's got a smile on his face, and someone that again, I'm sure will improve in terms of his own coaching ability and his own ability as an assistant coach to David. But another good addition, and someone that, again, like Eddie, like Craig, they've got a responsibility to look after David as their head coach as well, and be there for him, and adapt and make sure that at times everything is smooth, the waters are smooth, so that he's allowed to go and do his job. That's important. Craig is someone who has been at the club before. As I said, we were keen to make sure he was assistant coach, it wasn't goalkeeping coach, because his role is much bigger than that. He's a very positive person, very experienced now in Scottish football, good reputation in football, and also someone that's really loud and bright and bubbly, and a very positive, popular member of staff. He was here the last time, was that at Aberdeen, and I'm delighted to get him back in the building, because, as I say, hearing him shouting going along the corridor in the morning to Pedro, our kit man, to get the tea on, made me smile. And it's something that he's someone that's got good emotional intelligence, and I think that's something that's good for the football club as well. So I'm delighted with the three of them.